What's up, bro dogs? Today we're going to be testing the windshield wiper circuits and the washer circuits. The first thing I'm going to show you about how to test your windshield wipers and your washer is first you want to inspect your windshield wiper blades. You see, whenever you look at these, you want to see if there's any like cracks or if it's really dry. This one, it looks all good. It's nice and moist. It could be wiped out a little, but it's not that bad.
Let's drop you off there.
So before we start testing anything electrical on your car, I'm going to show you the tools you're going to need. I have some pins right here to go inside connectors. I got the digital multimeter, a regular lead, and an alligator clamp lead. And I also have a test light. And I'll show you what you can do with all this stuff. So now we're going to use a digital multimeter to test our wiper blade motor. Here I have it isolated, and I'm going to show you the pins we're going to test. Now if you look in this hole where the connector goes into, you see that there's 3 pins up in the top. We're going to test the one on the far right and the one on the far left. And I'm going to put my digital multimeter into ohms to test it, to get our reading. And then that's how much resistance we have on our motor. Alright, so now we're using the test light to test our harness that connects to the motor and see if we have a positive and a negative. So first, I'll be testing the negative. I have it hooked up to a positive post down here. Now, what we're gonna look for is the light to pop up, and which is, there we go, that's our negative. And now I'm gonna switch it over to a good ground, which is a bolt down here that I see that's connected to the frame of the car, and that's a great negative. So I'll hook it up, and now we're gonna look for the positive. So start from over here, work it. There we go. So we know that the purple wire and the black wire is your positive and your negative. Alright, so now I've isolated the relay for the wiper motor, and we're gonna test it. And how we're gonna test it is using a digital multimeter on the ohm setting. We're gonna go to the relay and test pin 85 and 86. So right here, this one, and we should have a high reading, which we got at 94, 93, and that's just how much power it has to push through to close the pin inside the relay. So now we're gonna test the fuse. Now first you wanna find the fuse, which over here is number 59, which is the wiper, which is a 25 amp. And here's your diagram, which you wanna see it's down there. So looking at the box, it's gonna be this one right here. So what we're gonna test is to see if there's power going to the fuse. So I got my test light hooked up to a good ground, and now we're gonna test to see, and we have power going to it, so the fuse isn't blown and it still works. Now we're gonna be testing the switch. I have it isolated from the vehicle, and I'm using this digital multimeter on the ohm setting, and we're gonna be testing this connector. So I have it off, and it's the white and black wire, which will be my positive. And I have my positive lead hooked up to the very end of it. I have a little pin inside the wire so I could get connection to it. And I'm just gonna shove the negative lead up inside the hole. And then you're gonna get a reading. I know it'll spike around, but it won't be too much. So now we're gonna visually inspect the linkage. The linkage is connected to the wiper motor right here, and it's just this piece that goes all the way across. This is what moves our wipers back and forth. But all you need to do is just visually inspect it, and it looks good, just a little rust, but nothing won't hurt it. So now we're gonna be testing the washer system of your wiper and washer blade system. So right here, down here, I have the pump. And it's just got 2 pins, which I'm going to be testing the 2 that are in here. I have a digital multimeter, and I have it hooked up to the ohm setting. And we're just going to touch these 2 pins, and it'll give us a reading. And we'll just read it, see what it says. If it has good resistance, then it's good. Alright, so now we're going to be testing the harness that connects to the washer motor of the washer system. So I have my test light hooked up to a positive post over here, and we're just going to look at the other side of this plug, and we're just going to look for the positive. Make sure that it has power going to it, which, as you can see, it lights up. And then over here would be our ground, and it wouldn't light up. So we know that the harness is good. Now we're going to be testing the washer relay, and over here it's number 39, and we just looked for it. It's that relay. We already pulled it out, and we're going to be testing the same pins again, so across from it. And I'm going to be using a digital multimeter and ohms once again. And we have a very high resistance, of course, because we don't have the switch on inside the relay, so it has to push a lot of power through to close the switch. So now we're going to be testing the fuse to the washer system. So I've already located the fuse, which is number 49, this washer pump 15 amp. So it's right there next to this relay, which will be this blue one. So I got my test light hooked up to a good negative spot, and now we're just gonna test it out, see if we have power, which we do. Light lights up red. Over there, it doesn't light up, so that means that the fuse is still good and it hasn't been blown yet. So guys, that's a good way of testing your washer system. And I just went through all the steps. If you need any help knowing how to use a digital multimeter or anything like that, or testing a relay, you can go to my previous videos where I've shown it. But that'll be all for today, so everybody stay safe, bro dog.